I guess this is Manny's twisted, morbid, depraved idea of a joke. This probably isn't even the worst that he's gonna do, and there's no telling what's coming next. I went to the police with the severed head, and as soon as that was taken care of, I went back to the house to try and get some rest. I'm not sure what tomorrow has in store, but whatever it is, I'm gonna need a ton of rest to get through it. Thursday, I don't know how long I managed to sleep in for, but what I do know is that at some point in the morning, said sleep was cut short by the sound of Roderick's band practicing. I figured I wasn't getting any more sleep, so I put on some clothes and went down to get some breakfast. As I was getting breakfast ready, I spotted a piece of paper sitting on the table, and when I read it, I found out what Loaded Diaper was practicing for. Love is in the air and so is music. See Loaded Diaper and many more at Bryce Anderson's wedding reception. Don't miss it. Save the date. Now, I never knew Bryce very well, but he didn't ever strike me as the kind of guy who'd enjoy Loaded Diaper. I'm pretty sure he's just doing this to get more people there, but if you ask me, it's still a win. After I got done eating breakfast, I turned on the TV to see if The Bachelor of Crossing the High was on, but I couldn't hear anything over the sound of Roderick's band. Eventually, I decided to go get some lunch, and when I was done with that, I went to Crunchy Fingers to hang out a bit. When I got there, Tyson greeted me, and I sat down and had a drink. Apparently, Chirag was at work, but Tyson said he'd come down by once he was done. Then, Tyson asked me if I wanted to go to the movies with him and Chirag tomorrow, and offered to buy me a ticket if I did. Now, after the week I've been having, I could really use a good movie to get my mind off things. Tyson told me to meet him and Chirag there around 6 in the evening tomorrow. It wasn't long before Chirag showed up, and everyone was here. I was there for pretty much the rest of the day, and by the time we all went home, it was already dark out. When I got home, Roderick was on the couch watching a horror movie, so The Bachelor of Crossing the High was off the table. I went to my room, and after a while, I decided to call it a night. I was falling asleep when all of a sudden I heard scratching on the window. I jolted up and went over to look at the window, but nobody was there. Then, I noticed something scuttling in the bushes, but I couldn't make out what it was. I wanted to believe it was just my mind playing tricks on me, and I was just about to go back to sleep when I heard sirens outside. I went to see what was going on, and when I was outside, I saw police cars in front of one of the neighbours' houses. The windows were broken and it looked like their house was wrecked by some kind of wild animal. There were some people standing in front of the house watching the whole thing go down, so I asked them what was going on, and apparently someone broke into the house and killed everyone inside. Now, I didn't take a genius to figure out that this was Manny's doing. I was also pretty certain that the thing that scratched my window was the thing that killed those people. It probably could have killed me too if it wanted, but I just decided to scratch on my window for whatever reason. I ran inside and locked the door before I shut myself in my room. I don't know what Manny's aim is or why he hasn't killed me despite clearly having the chance to do so, but I do know that the location of this newest bloodbath was no incident. I'm gonna go to sleep now, since I want to actually enjoy the movie tomorrow. Friday, it's movie day. At 6 PM, I headed over to Crunchy Fingers and met up with Tyson and Chirag like we planned. We followed each other to the theatre, and once we got there, we went inside and showed them our tickets before we got popcorn and drinks. We went to our auditorium and sat down once we found our seats, and after a whole bunch of trailers and ads, the movie began. It was a horror movie called Mr. Tibbles, and it was about some kid's imaginary friend who, after he grows up and forgets about him, gets revenge by killing his friends and family one by one. Now, it obviously wasn't Shakespeare, but it was pretty fun and entertaining. After the movie was over, we were walking out of this theatre and talking about the craziest scenes. It was all going pretty well until another familiar face showed up. It was Lionel James, another person who went to my school, and he was running around outside and ranting to anyone he could find. He kept ranting about how he saw this walking cheese and how it's going to kill us all. Now, Lionel's a well-known meathead, so I usually wouldn't take him seriously. But the thing about the walking cheese was a little too close to what I saw back when this all started. Eventually, he went away and we headed to our cars to call it a night. But right as I was about to go over to my car, I heard a voice behind me. "See ya real soon." I turned around to see who it was, and when I got a good look at them, my entire body sank. I ran to the car as fast as I possibly could. I looked back at where PT was before I got in, and it was completely gone. My heart pounded in my chest, and I drove as fast as possible once I got out of there. The whole time I was trying not to black out. When I finally got home, I locked the car doors and ran into the house and locked the door behind me. I couldn't think straight. I felt like I was going to suffocate as I grasped for air. With a high-pitched ringing piercing my ears, eventually the whole thing stopped, and I managed to collect myself and get a drink. I felt like I should check the news, because PT or something else like him appearing usually meant that Maddie was up to something. I dreaded to see what I would find out on the news, but I figured I should know instead of being in the dark. When I turned on the news, it was actually pretty normal. They were just talking about Bryce Anderson's wedding. Save the date! Bryce Anderson is getting married tomorrow. this Saturday at 1 p.m, followed by his wedding reception at 5:30. It's been almost a year since Bryce tragically lost his first wife, Bailey, who was murdered by an unknown attacker who broke into their home. But then, the story got interrupted. An incident at a jewelry store took place tonight, leaving at least 2 dead. The perpetrator also broke several items in the store, including the glass case around the jewelry being sold. Furthermore, the police say that a disturbing message was left at the scene. Now, it was really obvious that this had something to do with Manny, but what the message said was pretty much the icing on the cake.
Save the day, Bobby.
Remember that Bryce's wedding was tomorrow and the message became pretty clear. I had no idea what Manny was planning, but it was obviously nothing good. I called Albert, and when he finally picked up, I told him that we needed to meet up and that it was urgent. As soon as I hung up, I got in the car and drove to Albert's as fast as I could. When I finally got there, Albert and Fregley both greeted me and told me to sit down. I told them what the deal was and how Manny had something planned for Bryce's wedding. I brought up the fact that Roger was scheduled to perform at the reception and that he and everybody else there is in danger. Fregley came up with a game plan and told me to get Roderick to let me come as a VIP. Then he got out a wooden crucifix and went on to say that I wouldn't be looking for Manny himself, but instead I'd be going after the things that are actually killing people. He said that once I found one, I'd hold up my crucifix at them and that'd be enough to defeat them. I reminded Fregley that the last time he said that, it didn't work, and he said that the crucifixes usually work on demons. Apparently Manny's a special case since he's a mortal soul as opposed to something that always existed in that form. Fregley said I could take holy water too, since that's guaranteed to work. I'm honestly not sure about this plan, but it's the best we got. Pretty soon the meeting was over and I headed home. I'm going to try and get some sleep, since I'm definitely going to need it for tomorrow.